Okay. Figured I would do a video from start to finish. I'm gonna load 200 plus rounds. I've got probably 30 to 50 left in this primer tube, and then I've got 2 primer tubes already loaded with 100 primers each. So I figured I would do a quick fast forward video. So now that I'm all set up, primers are loaded, powder measure is set. I checked 4 or 5 times. I'm loading 3.6 grains today. Bullet seat depth is good. What I end up doing too is I'm gonna grab a magazine and I check to make sure my bullets feed my magazine, because my bullet seat depth is really far out there. So anyways, here we go. I'm just gonna run this in fast forward and give you an elapsed time on how long it takes to load 200 plus rounds, let's say 230 rounds. Alright, this is the initial couple I always do. Right here I'm looking for my primer measure stick, and then I found it. And I realized I had a few primers left. There's about 6 or 10 in here. I'm looking to make sure there's no wax buildup. Hit it with the case loop real quick up there. Run out, grab my mag and my chamber checker. Check them all and then cycle them through the gun. Checking to make sure that compared to the other ones in there, the bullet didn't get pushed in any farther. And I ended up tightening the crimp just a hair for warm and fuzzy feeling. And here we'll slow it down to normal speed after I fix this little jam up here. See how it runs at normal speed. So right there, after this is over, it's about 25 per minute, the way I was doing it there. Went ahead, that was about my first 100 rounds there, and after every 100, I'm going to load a few more. After every 100, I do a little check, still dropping at the right grains right there, still dropping at the right weight. Went ahead and I always just add a few brass cartridges. I add some Bullseye powder there I'm using. And then I get running again. I just make sure every 100 rounds I just top off. And you could, I don't know if you missed it a second ago, I added primers. I just showed the camera there, TZZ brass. It's just every once in a while TZZ brass jams up the machine, and it honestly happens the same way with the 650. Okay, so right here, ran into a stoppage, and anytime I have a major stoppage like this, I dump out the powder, get rid of it just in case it shook out, and then I figure out what's going on. And I think I had 2 things happen at once. I had a casing get stuck under there, and also it got a little slow to move, so I tried to see what that was. There's a BB stuck in there, so 2 problems at the same time. Sometimes that happens. Checking the platter, make sure everything's free, and got a new case. So I had an empty platter there. After I clear everything out, got rid of the bullets in their half stages, and I went ahead and popped in a primed cart case there. And then, just the way things tend to happen sometimes, directly after this, I got another weird one. I got a 9mm cartridge stuck in the 45, so it's really a good idea to keep an eye on everything. You get a knack for what ends up going wrong, and then I pushed the bullet too hard, so I kind of ran into a little bit of a slowdown. So you'll see that might happen to you with any reloader, progressive reloader, you get a jam like that, it causes a couple of other problems. Like right here, the primer shuttle spring and pulley little system came off. I've got it rigged that way that if there is a jam and it would cause a breakage, the pin just comes undone rather than breaking anything. Anyways, you'll see that that happens there right when you get to the very end for some reason. Sometimes it happens. That primer stick I put in at the end, the primer stick moves down with the primers as the primers get depleted as you go through the loading process there, and I only put it in at the end because it runs into the case feeder. So you can feel every primer when I'm pushing forward on that stick. I can feel every primer. So at this point, I'm going to start grabbing. I'm done with primers. Everything's done. I'm done with my 200 rounds. I'm grabbing the primed cartridge cases on the right, and I'm just finishing them out so they're not laying around. So hopefully you found that video helpful. Anyone who shoots Bullseye and is looking to get into reloading, I am by no means, I'm no Brian Zins, I'm no John Zurich, I'm no Henderson. I'm just a guy, and that's my best target ever, is holding the repair center. So 25.58 is my top score right now, and I'm just a standard run-of-the-mill expert. But I do trust the ammo when I'm doing everything right. That ammo I just shot last 2700 in North Carolina, that's 107X. So I mean that's a nice target, and for the money, it's really, in my opinion, it's either this or the 1050. The 650 I've loaded on a 650 thousands of rounds, and the continuing primers and no way to stop the brass, and it's not any more reliable than the Hornady is. The Hornady might have stoppages when this thing goes wrong or that thing goes wrong, and then if it's not that, it's the other thing with the Dillon. You get what I'm saying? So it's either between this or the 1050. The 1050 is going to be $2,000 when you're all said and done. This might be $600 when you're all said and done. And with 600 rounds per minute that I can push out of this thing, for another let's just say $1,500, it's not worth 400 rounds per hour to me to get that out of the Dillon. What would I think end up speeding this up? Certainly get this bullet feed die if you're trying to load with gusto. I would, in the future, going to put a shelf up here that I can, when I stand here, I can just grab the bullets from here instead of going all the way down to this towel I got on the bench. But everything else, all my other mods and everything are minor. You do need a little bit of mechanical sense to keep any progressive loader running. But please give the Hornady a look. If you're new to reloading or new to Bullseye and you're looking for a reloader that's not used, a new reloader you can order off of Mid-South Shooter Supply. This is $400 plus $200-300 I think for the case, and after your dies, like I said, you're around $300. So keep it in the 10 in the X-ring, and I'll see you around. Thanks for watching. Here for your viewing pleasure, I recorded me shooting a fly with a BB at 1,000 frames per second, and here it is at quarter speed.